Having our healthy diet is great. It's super important, but we need to make sure that with our healthy diet, we're also doing some sort of physical activity. It doesn't have to be every single day. It can look different, but we need to be doing something, even if it's walking, if you're wheelchair bound or it's harder for you to walk, even just taking some 2-pound or 3-pound weights, not super heavy, but something that's a little bit weight bearing, sitting down, doing some exercises like this. We really need to make sure, especially for women who are almost at the age of going into menopause, it's very important to prevent osteoporosis and to make sure we don't have any muscle wasting. So we do need to make sure that we are doing some sort of weight bearing exercise. Even if we are doing the walking and we're doing other sorts of cardio, we do want to do some sort of weight bearing exercise. We don't need to do anything too heavy. Like I said, 2-3-pound weights are okay. 5-pound weights, even better. We do want to make sure that we're keeping our muscle. We do want to make sure that we're retaining that muscle, and we're also going to help prevent osteoporosis, which is unfortunately really common as women get older, especially. So really make sure we're doing weight bearing exercises and we are doing some sort of physical activity, walking, doing push-ups against the wall, anything of that sort is great. Bicycling is great. When there's other people around, what holds you accountable, it makes you more motivated, and that's really what we're going to do. So even if you want to like text or call a friend and say, hey, would you like to walk a few blocks with me? Definitely do that.
It makes it seem like something that's like more fun and motivating
Yeah.
than just like, I'm going to go do my exercise now.
Exactly.
And just to top that off about going to the gym, if you go with someone, they kind of hold you accountable. If you make plans with someone, you don't want to let that person down either. I am doing like a lentils with roasted vegetables on the top. So I'm just going to start off to make a quick, simple lentil. It's like a lentil soup, but we're going to make it a little thicker so it's not soupy. It's more of a base. So I have some onions. I'm going to put my onions in. I have some celery. So I'm going to put some celery in there. And I have some carrots. So I'm going to just quickly finish cutting my carrots. So I got these in. Put them in. Finish cutting up. We're going to have a bay leaf. Make sure you take these out after you serve because you don't want to choke on them. I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't want to put too much salt because you can always add later on if you want it. So I'm just putting a touch of garlic in there as well. And honestly, it smells so good right now. Yeah, so that's getting to like this translucent, I guess. I'm going to add my lentils. Make sure you wash your lentils because sometimes there can be little stones in there. Like I really give my lentils a good wash. I soak them and then I scoop them up. Right, so I'm going to put the lentils in there, just saute them for a minute.
And those are just the like regular, I guess they call them either brown lentils. Yeah.
Yep, brown lentils. And you can use water or you can use broth. I'm going to use broth because it's like a lot more flavorful. Vegetable broth, chicken broth, bone broth, whatever you prefer. All right, so I'm going to just put that in. And then you're going to cook it till the lentils and everything is tender. It looks like a lot of water at the beginning, but trust me, it goes down as it cooks.
The lentils absorb a bunch of that.
So that's your lentil part. And just before it's cooked, I'm going to, just before the end, like maybe a few minutes, just to get a leafy green in, because I know the kids, they won't see it in the lentils, a spinach. So that's right at the very end. As for my roasted veg, I have some sweet potatoes that I already cut. So I have a lot here, but you know what? I peeled the whole thing because even if I don't use them all, it's good for meal prep as well. And then I have some cauliflower florets. And also I have beets in the oven that I'm going to take out now. In the original recipe, they had beets on the sheet pan, but I wanted to cook my beets first because I feel like beets take like a lot longer than this. So I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil. So you get a nice crunch. And some salt. You mix it up so it's nice and coated. And I did put avocado spray on the bottom of the pan. Now I'm going to pull my beets out the oven so you can see what I've done with the beets. So probably won't be able to peel these, but I did have some leftover from when I previously peeled for the after, because they did take a long time. But this is going to go into the oven. By the way, you can put it on 400 in the oven until it gets like a little charred. I'll show you what it looks like at the end. This is my beetroot. Oh my God, it smells so good.
I'm sure it does.
You know, I steam my beets, so I don't peel them. The skin comes off pretty easy. And also I use some rosemary. You'll just take that off at the end. Peel the beets, take the skin off, and then I'll cut them and let them cool. You can refrigerate them and they're good for a few days. Right?
How
So
long
let's-
did you do the beets in the oven?
So let me see if they're ready, and then I can tell you. They're still a little bit hard. Maybe they've been in the oven nearly an hour. You know when you know beets are done, your fork goes in easy, slides all the way through, and then you know they're done. Like these were pretty big beets, so I cut them in half. But even the small ones, they're still a little bit firm. So that's going to go in the oven. These are going to go back in the oven. This is how the cauliflower is like slightly charred. So that's that. Here's my dish for the week.
Oh, so pretty.
Yeah, so I have
So good.
lentils with cauliflower, beets, and sweet potato. And for water of the week is rosemary and lemon. You can eat this room temperature, and I'm actually looking forward to it.
I am making a zucchini stir fry. I actually make this pretty often. What I love about this is that it's really good as like a side dish for dinner. It's also really good to top on like chicken breast, like a white fish. I do that a lot, so I really love that. So what I have going on right now is put a little bit of sesame oil. And remember, we've spoken about smoke points before. We don't want to cook the sesame oil on too high because it has a very low smoke point. So I put it in, I get it a little bit hot, and then I put in my onions, and then a few minutes later I put in my peppers. Those are my most favorite foods, so it takes the longest to cook. I put some salt on and drained out a lot of the water. It came out within minutes, so much liquid came out. I then dried it out. There's still more water coming out. You don't want to put the zucchini in without salting it because then it becomes very waterlogged. So I'm putting in my zucchini. Zucchini cooks very quickly, so that's why I'm putting it in that. It smells so delicious from the sesame oil. It's gonna take like a few minutes just to cook there. What I love about using sesame oil, which I don't use so often to cook because of the smoke point, but you'll see that the zucchini will get like a nice char. It gets like a nice little golden char on it. It's like super delicious, and that's all flavor. All the burnt that comes into the bottom of the pot, that's all flavor that you want to try to get off. Scrape off with your spoon. It's already charring so nicely. I'm going to show you. That's the difference between using like a sesame oil and an olive oil. You see it's already having such a nice char, and it's not even really cooked yet. Super easy. I love just using all these different color vegetables. It makes for like a nice presentation on the plate. And like I said, it's so delicious. These all go so nicely over protein. So we're going to let that cook for another few minutes. I'll put it then into a bowl so that you guys can see the end result. You can put a little bit of Parmesan cheese if you want. I'm going to keep this without cheese, but I've done it with Parmesan cheese. You can also put this over pasta, which is delicious. Mozzarella cheese or even feta cheese. It's super versatile. It's actually a really good thing to make in the beginning of the week. You can keep it in your fridge and you can use it as like a food prep type of thing. You're just sauteing a bunch of these vegetables together. You can also use a more neutral oil if you don't want that sesame taste. I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna let the rest of it cook a bit. And then what I put at the end, because I always like a little bit of heat, is some red chili flakes. And then you can eat it like this as just a side, or I love it over fish. It's delicious. You can even saute it, put this over chicken while you're baking it in the oven, and it's super delicious.
I was going to ask about the sesame oil actually, because I was thinking about that. Little goes a long way. About how much do you put in the pan?
I don't do more than like a tablespoon, and that's even a generous amount. You can also add some like regular avocado oil or olive oil if you feel the vegetables need a little bit more oil. If you are going to use it over pasta, it might be good to kind of mix the oil so you get a little bit of the taste, but then not overpowering.